Microphone check 1 2 1 2. This is your host, not son, baby, and this is another episode of Swingers After Dark. And I'm with my main man, my main man, DT Smith, and we're about to chop it up about the difference between Facebook groups versus invite only private parties when it comes to the swing lifestyle. So I just want to holler at my man's right quick so he could, express his thoughts, his opinions, and his perspectives about the swing lifestyle. So, DT, is there's a difference between, Facebook groups as far as how these so-called swing lifestyles are run versus like invite only, like I'm only going to select a certain amount of people to come to my parties? Is there like a difference?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a difference. Simply because of the medium people are using to promote their parties. But like, it doesn't necessarily matter if it's a Facebook group or if it's an invite only party. I think the hosts need to be held accountable for what they're throwing, what they're promoting, what they're calling it, what they want their party to entail. Because, I mean, anyone can throw a party. They could throw a private party. They could promote it on Facebook, whatever. But I think the dynamic of the party is dictated by the host ultimately. Yes.
So do you think that capitalism kind of low key ruined the lifestyle?
Well, you can't ruin the lifestyle. The lifestyle is a concept. What I will say as far as capitalism,
meaning like the promoters, the hosts, they more so worried about the money instead of vetting people who come to their parties, to their functions.
Well, I think it's evident which hosts are concerned about money. And when I say money, I'm talking about inviting anyone, or for instance, anyone can walk up to the table where you're supposed to pay. They don't have to say they know anyone. They don't have to be familiar with the host. If they have the bread in their hand, they hand it to the person. They'll get a band. They'll sign their name and they're in the party. But I think it's evident who's motivated by money and who's motivated by a good time. Not to say the hosts that are motivated by money primarily don't want people to have a good time, but with that being their primary motivation, there's going to be an effect on the dynamic of the party.
So do you think that vetting is all but lost in the lifestyle?
Well, I think with online media, I mean, if we're going to talk about vetting, when I speak of vetting, I'm talking about examining someone's character. I think that's very difficult to do online. You can be anyone online. I'm anyone online. I use Facebook for anything, to vent, say things that'll shock people, speak from the heart, be funny. But no one can really get to know me just online. So if I'm to say vetting has been lost, I will say it's among those who invite pretty much anyone who's on Facebook that they've never really met, spoke to, got to know, or anything like that. And, it kind of is what it is with that.
Because I stumble across the lifestyle by the way of MySpace and Yahoo groups. And, I had to go to a meet and greet first. And not only that, the lady, she wouldn't even allow me to come to her parties until I was in a couple. So do you think that, the strict requirements is gone because people see that there's money involved? They just bypass you got to do this before you could do that. Like, I had to go to a meet and greet first. So you think that, a lot of people are jumping without a parachute, and it's causing all types of chaos because people are not vetted and they don't know the proper etiquette when it comes to the lifestyle because nobody's putting them on game.
Well, I mean, as far as a meet and greet goes, I don't think you can vet anyone doing that. I mean, it's not that, I don't think that's an end all be all for vetting someone. But when I speak about,
well, what is your definition of vetting? Like, how would you vet somebody? Because you've been in the lifestyle for a minute. So how would you vet somebody?
If I'm vetting someone, I'm pretty much examining what type of person they are, what kind of environment they would be able to handle, their character, how they perceive things, what they think about things. Because the mindset and the behavior, as far as the lifestyle goes, is supposed to go hand in hand. Everyone likes sex, but they might not like casual sex. Everyone likes sex, but they might not like sex in front of others. everyone likes sex, but they might feel they need to get to know someone really well. That's always their prerogative, but for those who are hosting a party, they'll have to be mindful of who's coming, their mentality coupled with their behavior. So maybe someone doesn't have a problem with casual sex, but they do have a problem with having sex while people are around. As a host, do you want that person at your party? Do you have a problem with a person like that at your party? Maybe yes, maybe no. But if I'm vetting someone, I'm examining how they feel about a certain type of dynamic.
So when did you see the change in the lifestyle? Because I remember, I came in the lifestyle under KD Ford, the mansion parties, and it was nothing but couples.
No doubt.
Now it's like singles are running it and the couples are the new unicorns. So when did you see the change?
I mean, I would think, the more seamless online media became, I think, that opened up the boundaries of discretion, the more seamless it became. Like, these other online media networks that embrace lifestyle activity like Adult Friend Finder, Adult Space, SLS, Yahoo, they're choppy. Something like Facebook, very seamless, like incredibly seamless, almost like you feel like you know somebody that you haven't even met before. And that's not the case, but that's how seamless Facebook is. So as far as change, and I'm not going to even say it's changed for the worse. Like, I love Facebook, and I think it's great for online networking. Like I said, I'm not going to blame online media for how parties are hosted or what kind of dynamics created at parties. Ultimately, it's up to the host. If they're hosting a party and they're using Facebook as a networking tool, it's up to them what kind of party they're throwing, who they're inviting, how many they're inviting, and things like that.
Because it seems like there's a thin line between fuck parties and lifestyle groups. It's like
I don't have a problem with fuck parties.
but you have people who are not in a lifestyle. They're in these groups and they judgmental and they just see like the women and they see the women as a piece of meat and the dudes as creeps. So that also leads to the thought that. Well, not the thought, that also leads to the lack of vetting because anybody could come to these groups. There's no exclusivity. So it's like how you could tell between a lifestyle group and a fuck group.
Well, let me ask you, what is a fuck group?
Well, a fuck group is like no holds barred. It's like there's no rules, there's no code of conduct, there's no etiquette. It's just anything goes. The lifestyle, at least you have some type of rules. You have some type of order. You know what I'm saying? It's like couples, they have their rules. You just can't talk to my woman or you just can't talk to my man. It's like the difference between gangs and organized crime. With gangs, it's like anything goes. But with organized crimes, you got to talk to the 5 families first before anybody can make a move. So that's how I look at it. The difference between fuck groups and lifestyle groups, in my opinion.
If you're referring to fuck groups as parties that are thrown with reckless abandon, then I just found out what a fuck group is. But if someone describes a fuck group where people just want to come and have no strings attached, casual sex, I'm not going to say I have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. That's actually a beautiful thing to me. Maybe not to everyone, but to me, that's a beautiful thing. But if you're talking about fuck groups being groups with reckless abandon, well, no, that's not good for anyone who has any kind of standard. But as far as the lifestyle is concerned and people saying, well, you're mixing the lifestyle with fuck groups, like I said, it'll all go back to the host. Well, who are you inviting? Mm-hmm. Are they a fuck group person, meaning a person who likes to attend parties where you can just do whatever you want? If that's what a fuck group person is, no, you don't want anyone there like that. But if someone says, oh, all you're worried about is sex, well, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. You can, that can be your primary concern, and you can still treat people with respect, get along with people, socialize with people, all that good stuff. But if someone were to say to me, be like, DT, you just want to have sex. Well, maybe I do. Why would that be a problem? What would you have me do? Or what would you want me to want? You want me to want more friends? You want me to be a give a speech on how you're supposed to be nice to people? I was like, what is this we're doing? So like, if I'm attending an LS party, and let's say I'm going there, I want to get my rocks off. I want to bust some nuts. I want to make some other people bust some nuts. What is wrong with that? I would feel that anyone felt there was something wrong with that, really lost perspective on what this was created for and who it was created for. Because as far as the lifestyle concerned, if I'm to define it, I would say casual sexual indulgence in a communal environment. When I say casual, that's no strings attached. Nothing more to it than that. Just a physical activity. It doesn't have any more deeper meaning than that. And I don't see anything wrong with that. If I'm going to say sexual indulgence is fuck till you can't no more. Engage in sexual activity till you've had your fill, and maybe even past that. The opposite of that would be sexual restriction. Oh, no. I'll have sex once, or no, I'm not going to have sex at all. That would be bad. That would be the opposite of sexual indulgence. Communal environment. That would be using the playrooms at parties, having no problem with engaging in sexual activity in playrooms or designated play areas, like at Saints and Sinners, or, at a swing club, you can have sex anywhere. Communal environment. I'm having sex among others. The opposite of that would be behind closed doors. Come to my crib. We can have sex there. I don't want to have sex here. I don't want people knowing what I'm doing. I'm a one-on-one type of person. So if I mention those three things, casual, sexual indulgence, communal environment, the vanilla mindset, as far as I'm concerned, would be the opposite of those three things. The opposite of casual sex, the opposite of sexual indulgence, the opposite of a communal environment. And I felt like a lot of vanilla mindsets have been more or less tolerated among the population that attend these parties by hosts, because they're like, well, I'm throwing a party. I want them to come. It makes me popular. I'll make some money. I have a lot of people at my party. I have 100 instead of 15. So they don't need to really abide by any of those three concepts. I'm glad they're here.
And vanilla, for those who don't know, vanilla in lifestyle vernacular means that, you're non-lifestyler. You're a quote unquote regular civilian. But I just want to ask you, how do you feel when people be like, well, the lifestyle is not all about fucking. It's about building friendships. Why is it all about sex? So what do you think about that?
Well, I'm going to take it right back to vanilla mindsets. I'm not even going to go say anything about vanilla mindsets. Someone said to me, of all people, someone who loved to socialize with people, talk with people, interact with people, DT, all you worry about is fucking. I can carry a conversation better than 99% of these motherfuckers anywhere. I love talking to people from all sorts of backgrounds. Doesn't matter what gender, what race, what you're into, what you're not into. That doesn't dictate how I socialize with others. Socializing with people is what humans do. It's what separates us from animals and computers. That comes naturally. You don't need to explain to me. At parties, you're supposed to socialize. That's going to occur anyway because we're human beings among each other. But if someone's to ask me, well, what do you think the lifestyle's about? If I'm to give the most simplistic definition, I'm going to say sexual indulgence and partying. Like that's really it. Anything more, I think anything added on to that sort of waters down the dynamic and just brings you closer to a vanilla mindset. Because for them, a party's absolutely not about that. They're like, sex, what are you talking about? We're having a good time. We're drinking, we're talking, we're mingling, dancing, listening to music, all that. That's all fine and dandy. But what separates us from them is that our focus is sexual. It's not social. So for all those who preach socialize, that's something human beings do naturally. but as far as us having an alternative way of thinking, what we're supposed to do naturally is have casual sex, meaning we don't have to know everything about you. We don't have to know your first name or your real name. We don't need to know where you're from. We don't need to know your age. We don't need to know what your religious beliefs are or your political stance on things. It's casual sex. Often, if you go to any swing club on a random night, if I'm to go to Saints and Sinners, for instance, on a Wednesday, I might encounter people I've never met before, but I'll end up engaged in sexual activity with them. Would you say I went about things wrong, not getting to know them? Because that's commonplace in swing clubs, not parties that are contrived by groups where people interact with each other on posts, video chats, this, that, or the other. You go to a swing club, you get in there, you see a whole bunch of folks you don't know. Are we not supposed to have sex because we've never met them before or interacted with them on Facebook or had a long, drawn-out conversation about shit that has nothing to do with casual sex? So that's how I feel about those who put such an emphasis on socializing. I feel it's something human beings naturally do. It naturally occurs. As far as making friends, I think that's something that's supposed to naturally occur. I don't think it's supposed to I don't think you should be seeking that. That's something that happens naturally. So when people say stuff like that, I'm like, it's like saying, LS parties aren't all about sex. You have to breathe there too. You have to breathe oxygen there too. Be like, no shit. I'm going to do that as a human being. So that's how I feel about that.
So, what do you think? Do you think that these parties, these LS, these lifestyle parties have turned into glorified meet and greets? Because you have the abundance of quote unquote lifestyle friendly people and people who don't want to claim that they're lifestyle, but they come to parties and they just come to smoke, drink, and mix and mingle.
Yeah,
and
be somewhere. A lot of folks. I've noticed a lot of folks want to be somewhere just to be somewhere.
And that's the era of the lifestyle now.
No name said, but I mean, we just witnessed people come to a party because they wanted to come.
Yeah.
Nobody knew the motherfuckers. They just, they just got in. They just got into the shit.
Yeah.
So with that obvious occurrence right before our very eyes, what am I supposed to think of that? Will I say they're glorified meet and greets? No, but I do think the focus has veered away from the purpose. Like, why am I throwing a lifestyle party as opposed to just a party? Because I've been to shit, that was so underwhelmingly sexual that I reflected on my times in college and had a more sexually indulgent time. I'm like, what was that? I was like, that's the LS party. If I'm to introduce someone to the LS and I were to bring them to some of these parties, they'd be like, well, what's the difference between this and what we do at the house parties in Philly? I'd be like, you know what? You got me there. There wasn't right. That's I brought you to this, but you didn't see anything that differentiated from the mainstream too much. And not to say that it's all lost, but I feel like if we're to move things on a scale, it's moving more toward a mainstream type of party, nothing that's specified for a particular population. Because we just saw a couple of people get into a party that had no idea what the fuck this is, like none whatsoever.
Yeah, no comment. But yeah, so what is the solution to the end game? So making sure there's more lifestyles who want to get it in, who want to fuck, than just people want to voyeur. I don't want to say fix. Fix is not a good word, but how would you rather, bring the lifestyle back to its quote unquote glory days where everybody's at the parties fucking? Damn near everybody's at the parties fucking instead of everybody voyeuring, mixing and mingling like it's a fucking meet and greet.
Well, I want to say this first. The lifestyle is a concept and it's perfect. You can't, for those who say the lifestyle's ruined or the lifestyle's bad or this, that, or the other, you can't. A concept that's perfect, you can't ruin it. At the end of the day, there's hosts and there's patrons. There's people throwing parties and there's people who come. No one person or even a bunch of people can fix that because there's so many different hosts and so many different patrons. What I would do is implore those who respect the culture to throw parties that are geared toward the culture and are commensurate with the culture. If people are out there on their own agenda, throwing parties for popularity, throwing parties for money, throwing parties for sensationalism, throwing them in spectacles, that's their business. I can't tell anyone what kind of party to throw. But if you are a host who respects the culture, throw a party that's commensurate with the culture. A lot of the veteran hosts who've been around for a long time, they know what it is. They've been knowing what it is. And, they probably do throw parties, probably privately. But if someone's interested in being a host for a party, throw a party that's going to abide by the culture. Not for popularity, not for commercial reasons, not for money. I don't knock anyone's hustle, but throw something that respects the culture and abides by the culture. And that's all I'll say. But you can't fix the lifestyle. The lifestyle is already perfect. It's been perfect and always will be.
So it's pretty much about finding your lane and getting in where you fit in.
I mean, you can say it like that, but like I said, if I'm an attendee, I can only count on the host to throw something that is for the culture. If you're throwing some other shit and I attend, then you're throwing some other shit and I'll make the most of my time. But there's still hosts out there. There's still people out there who throw lifestyle parties. And then there's those who throw parties, call them LS parties, might even have some LS folks at them. But I don't think they have a thorough respect for the culture. They have an agenda. And at the end of the day, that's their business.
All right. And on that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Not Some, baby. Shout out to my guest, DT Smith, and check out my check out my website, www.notsonblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com, and check out my ebook, You, Me, Us, Them, The Swinger Manifesto. It's on Nook, Kindle, iBooks, Google Play. Go get it. Ow. And shoot me an email at swingpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingpodcast@gmail.com, and hit me up with any questions and or concerns that you may have. And also share, comment, rate, subscribe to this podcast, and Google me, Author Not Son, and check out my books. All right. And on that note, until next time, peace.
Mom, I made it.
And don't kiss them hoes in the mouth, baby.